So I'm going to pass this over. Hope Dealers BTC is going live in just a minute. You got to turn your volume down. And then, yeah, I would do it right from there, like go back and forth. As long as, hopefully it'll not pick up any of the side. Just because I don't know where.
Where's Chris?
I need some.
Outside with.
Where's Chris?
Outside with
I just came in.
That's what me and Joe did when we had to count the other ones. You need a pair of gloves, Steph.
Huh?
You need a pair of gloves.
I don't have it.
I got something in my backpack.
You do? Look at that. All right, I'll hold this if you want to grab them. Do you mind being on air? All right.
Oh, like
You giving me a ride home?
Where's Chris?
I knew there was ulterior motive.
I was supposed to give Chris one, but I can give you one. Did we just leave in? Yeah.
He left.
He's not coming?
No, he left.
He said he was.
No, he
I was
left.
giving a ride home.
And I have a bunch of needles, and you know,
Is this on the air?
You're not
yeah.
supposed to say those.
Yes, I got
You're not supposed to keep them.
Okay, here you go.
They're in Brian's truck.
Oh, of course they are.
Really? Is that my phone?
Oh.
Oh, okay.
It's
3
telling
minutes.
me I gotta take my meds.
I'll do this in a minute. I'm gonna let you guys kind of do your thing for a minute, and I'm gonna. Well, I'll go on.
Like, yeah, intro.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna let you guys. Will I count these?
It doesn't like you today, Lisa.
I don't know.
Salvatore. Chris Salvatore.
Interesting.
Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go.
2 minutes. Oh. Brian's amazing at this shit. Brian, pull out the new numbers for the heroin task force.
You got it.
Oh, and Lisa, did you just comment on Lori's post or did you share it as well?
I can't remember.
Do you want to pull it up? He's pulling up the numbers. You pull that up. We're going to talk about what's going on.
That's a little better.
That's why you're not allowed here anymore.
Oh. Hold on, wait. We're going to add in. Can I see that for a second? I'm going to add in Donnie and then. Okay, so you can actually just do it right in there. Donnie got his.
I gotta take my.
30 seconds.
Oops.
What's going on, Rochester? Beauty Change Radio in the building.
What up, Rochester?
We got a full house. And we've had such
It is
a
down.
crazy busy day. And we have so much to talk about. Holy crap.
Except for the kickball game.
Oh, we're gonna talk about kickball.
No.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. But we're gonna start off. We have our awesome Brian, who's pulling up the numbers for yeah.
Awesome, Brian. I like that.
Great whispering skills, buddy.
Trying to pull those up. Keep talking about it.
So we're talking about that. We're also talking about treatment when people get into different programs, how they work. I'll be talking about Channel 10. Actually, Lisa and I have been talking about this for a few days. Channel 10 released a statement from, was it RGH? Lisa?
Yeah, it
Do you want
was.
me to just read it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're gonna get right into this. So this is I'm just gonna read this. Lori Drescher shared this, and she
I don't think they're playing that.
she runs Recovery Coach University. She trains like CRPAs and CARCs. It says News 10 just reported 103 overdoses in Monroe County last month, 14 fatalities. Gates Town Supervisor Mark Cassini speaks out on a critical role of hospitals and why Monroe County hospitals thus far refuse to step up and provide detox beds to treat opiate withdrawal despite the mounting healthcare crisis. The quote provided by Rochester Regional Health is highly suspect. This has not been the general experience of furthering a community outreach effort. So the exact quote that Rochester Regional Health said is just, I would classify it as being suspect. Rochester Regional Health we offer comprehensive services for both outpatient and inpatient treatments for those dealing with opioid and other addictions. So, this is just basically like a whole load of bull crap. And I mean, I'm honestly, when I read that, I was so pissed off that I wanted to just straight up call them and rip everyone's head off, because most of you guys, I think all of you here, have already heard my ridiculous story of how I went to every single hospital in Rochester, every single one.
Yeah, same here with the one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep, and I don't even care anymore. I'm going to name all three of them. I went to Strong, I went to Highland, and I went to RGH. And I went in, I told them I'm dying. I'm straight up dying. I'm addicted to opiates. I'm ready for help, and I need help. And I want to detox, and I want to go to inpatient. And all of them looked at me and said, we can't help you. And then the funny thing is I've been reading comments of other people saying that they were told the exact same thing as me. And it's, we don't do that here. And it's like, oh, what? You don't provide health care to people, because that's all it is. And this is the only disease where you will see people treated like that. You will see someone walk into an emergency room and be turned away. Like, someone walks in and tells you that they're dying.
That's
and you're
crazy.
gonna say we don't do that here? Are you kidding
That
me?
is crazy. I can't believe that.
I know. And if I hadn't have just randomly met this one lady after lying to get my seat into the psych ward at Strong and just somewhere to go, I don't know if I'd be alive today, because I met this random kind woman who asked if she could pray with me, because she heard me on the phone talking to somebody. And she came up and said, I couldn't help overhearing, and I hope I'm not intruding, but can I pray with you? And I said, sure. And we got to talking, and she said, I know somebody who works at a rehab out in Buffalo. Do you want me to try asking if I can get you a bed? And I was like, sure. But in my mind, I was like, yeah, right. That's never going to happen. And 5 minutes later, this lady texts her back and says, I can get her in tomorrow.
She's
Like,
an angel, that's why.
Right.
She wasn't really there. It was your guardian angel.
Pure
But-
blessing, pure blessing.
The fact that that's what got me help and not walking into a hospital and telling a nurse, telling a doctor, I'm dying, please help me. Like, it's disgusting. And the fact that they're now lying about it on the news is just disgusting.
It is.
Yeah, so that's gonna send other people into the exact same position that you were just talking about, going into these hospitals when they need help, when they themselves are dying. And if they're saying on this post that they'll take them in and give them treatment, when in reality, they're gonna turn them away. Like, that could be so much more detrimental to these people.
What about the programs when we send them out of the county and now the county wants to bring them all back? I mean,
Yeah, what was going on with
what's
that?
up with that? That's just crazy.
Yeah, what is up with that? I mean, I don't know the details behind it, but I heard about it.
All I know is that basically if you're from Monroe County and you're out of the county and some say Bath or Hornell or Syracuse or somewhere, that Monroe County wants to bring you back. So basically you're getting kicked out of whatever detox we put you in or you put yourself in, any inpatient, anything like that. Monroe County is bringing everybody back.
Which is
And
what are they doing with them when we bring them back?
nothing.
they're just roaming the streets, man.
This actually just happened to somebody that's on our show for the first time today. He went out of county for a 28-day program, and then he made the choice to go to long-term residential treatment, also out of county. And while he was there, he ended up being told that he had to leave. He had to get out because Monroe County wanted him back here. And his plan was to go into a halfway house back here in Rochester to be closer to his son to try to restart that relationship. But the halfway houses that he had planned on going through didn't have any beds ready. So rather than just allowing him to wait a couple more weeks until those beds were going to be ready, they just forced him into a program that,
Wow.
I mean, is just kind of a
So what were the details behind that? Like, what'd you do when, you came back here, basically?
Well, they wanted me out, like 3 weeks ago. The insurance was already telling me they wanted me out on the 21st. They wanted me back in Monroe County. And my counselor just kind of pushed for some extra time, which bought me another couple weeks, but they weren't going to do much more than that.
So just for the record, for our listeners, this is John we have with us today. And he's gonna tell his story.
John, we just don't mention the places, the names that we were at, just because.
Okay.
We don't name the halfway houses. We don't name nothing like that.
So John, how long were you using, John?
I've been using for over 10 years, maybe like 12 years, on and off.
Okay, do we have a clean date or would you like to?
Yeah, February 18th.
Nice.
All right.
That's actually my mom's birthday.
Look at that.
That's 4 days before my mom's birthday.
Okay, John, and if you don't mind, what were you using?
Heroin, cocaine.
Pretty much everything.
Yeah, benzos.
And for those of you who don't know, John is the father of my son, so I've spoken about him quite a few times
Oh, okay.
on the show.
Okay. So tell us your story, John.
Yeah, let's start from the beginning. Yeah.
The beginning of time.
Wow.
First cigarette, the first beer, the first.
So how old were you when you
threw him into this.
how old were you when you used your first drug?
I smoked a lot of weed when I was like a teenager, probably about 16. Then like some like psychedelics and ecstasy and stuff like that. I didn't use opiates until I was probably almost 20.
Okay.
Which started with like Percocets and pills like that.
Same story. There's so many.
There was no injury or anything. I was just using them like recreationally until like one day I realized I was getting sick when I didn't have them. And this was around the time where Oxycontin was huge, and that was like my big drug of choice for a while. But then the prices of those skyrocketed to like damn near like $2 a milligram, so I couldn't afford that.
Oh,
Don't remember getting that high.
wow.
Yeah, well, this is out in Buffalo, so I
Yeah.
don't know.
Different everywhere.
Yeah, and about maybe like around 24-ish, I think I tried heroin for the first time, and the girl yeah, got me up right away. Didn't start sniffing it, just used the needle right off the bat.
Oh, wow.
So then I got addicted to using the needle. I was doing everything. Tried my first attempt at rehab in like 2010. Didn't really take it seriously. It was a 28-day. It was just kind of to get my parents off my back.
And you did that yourself?
Yeah. No arrest or anything up to this point.
Up till that point.
Yeah.
At that point. We're getting there. guys.
Yeah, not yet. And got out of there and then ended up going back to old friends and got high basically the next week.
That will happen every time.
Mhm.
So did you actually complete the rehab?
I did, yeah.
Okay. So you said a 28-day rehab, is it?
Yeah, and this was the first time that I was introduced to like AA or NA and stuff like that.
Hey, did you come off on a maintenance drug?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Suboxone.
Yeah, that's like, we're not even appropriate. It goes sour real quick too, right?
Really?
Yeah. So yeah, that was the first time I was started on Suboxone too, and basically I could never use Suboxone right. I've been on and off it for a long time, but I just ended up selling it to get other drugs.
What are you on right now? Still Suboxone?
No, Vivitrol.
There you go.
Yeah, Vivitrol.
Which is working for me. I've had like 4 shots now.
That's awesome.
Cravings aren't bad, and I suggest it if you're ready to quit. I mean, it's a great thing.
You got 3 people in here that's on Vivitrol.
I
Two
love it.
in there and then 1 in here.
I don't-
And it's the best thing that we've done, I think, honestly. For
It's simply because I couldn't use maintenance drug correctly that, it's Suboxone. There's people who can, there's people who can't. And, when I got it in my hands, it was simply, I saw money, money signs.
Exactly.
And then it leads you right down the road, right back to that life, right back to,
Keeps you in addictive behaviors.
exactly.
But Vivitrol, you get it once a month and forget about it. You're done.
Can't sell that on the butt.
So,
Got it.
what?
so after you went to the rehab, your parents, and you did it for your parents, did your parents out there? How long until you were out did you do that?
It wasn't very long, maybe like a week.
Yeah.
I stayed to myself for about a week afterwards, and thought I was gonna do well, and then I just went right back around like old friends, and
People, places, things.
yeah, and they weren't too enthused that I was getting clean, so I think they like
No drug addict wants another drug addict to get clean, right?
so they were bringing it around, and they knew it was
They were like, look what we got.
So did your parents catch on that you
yeah.
did that?
At this point, I was living with my mom, and she actually took a job in South Carolina in Myrtle Beach. And I was going to stay in Buffalo, but I was becoming very reckless, and my addiction was like out of control at this point. So I'm like, I'm going to go with you. Maybe a change of location will do the trick. And I go down there for about 3 months. I was okay. And then I find myself looking online at like police blotters, like where's that?
Addicts are very resourceful.
Yeah.
I've never heard this part.
Yeah, I'm
Police is
like,
like, what?
Something new all the time.
like where's the crime at? That's where I'm at.
Going looking
Oh,
for
an
it.
OD on the first street?
Yeah.
I'm there.
I was looking for heroin, and I went down. I'm like, all right, there's a lot of crime over here. So I'm driving in these areas, and sure enough, there's crack dealers. There was a lot of crack, and that was the first time I ended up shooting crack and smoking crack. And so I just substituted one addiction for the other. I was still on Suboxone and shooting that too with Subutex at the time. But that didn't last very long. I ended up meeting a girl down there. She was down there visiting her sister for the summer, and she was from Ohio. and we kind of hit it off. And so I went to see her in Ohio and eventually moved up there. Right near Toledo, Bowling Green, Ohio. It's like a little college town.
Yeah, I know where that is.
Yeah, it is.
And she
Yeah.
wasn't an addict, right?
No, she's clean. She was a good girl. I mean, she rarely drank and never even like smoked cigarettes. So this was new to me. And I was doing well up there for a while. I was still on Suboxone, and I brought my script with me, and I only had like 30 or so left. And once those ran out, like I didn't have a plan to get another doctor. So I had started a job there, and this was right around the time that I was like detoxing or withdrawing because all the thugs were gone. And I met a couple people at work that could get some things, and I was right back at it. I was buying pills again, Xanax and stuff like that.
So what happened at the job you were working at that ended up getting you into a lot of people?
If she's asking that, something big.
No, she had no idea.
She's like, just what happened, you know?
Well, this was another job. I had 2 jobs at the time, and this was like a cleaning business. And I would go into like these offices and clean like after hours. And so I was sick one day, and I'm rummaging through drawers, like desks and stuff. This is terrible. And I come across like some keys that open another drawer. Open that, there's like blank payroll checks in there. So
Oh Lord.
yeah,
See where this is going.
Here we go.
so I go back home. I didn't write them out because I knew if I used ink, like it wasn't gonna work right. So I made them look legit, printed them out like on the computer. And at first I was, I was having like other people cash them, like I was putting them in other names because I didn't want to get caught for it.
Yeah,
And
that's
then, and then eventually like I was stupid, I was sick, and I had to like write one out to myself. And this worked for a few weeks, probably about like maybe a couple grand worth of checks maybe. And then the detectives start knocking on my door. And this is in Ohio, and Ohio is like a crazy like police state. There's like more prisons there than like any other state. And I didn't really realize this. And I'm used to being in Buffalo and getting away with things. I don't know why I always got away with things in Buffalo, but I never really did jail time there or anything. So I was ducking this detective for a while, not answering the door, and still getting high. And then they ended up catching up with me, and I'm like, yeah, because he had like the paperwork and the checks. And
Yeah.
They knew.
It's not hard.
Yeah, they knew.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, they knew that it was me, and I'm like, all right, yeah. But at this time, they only had like 2 checks. I'm like, oh, that's all of them. Yeah, there were no more.
That's a wrap right there.
Yeah.
It's close.
And he's like, all right, well, if this is it, we'll talk to the company, and hopefully they'll just like kind of have you pay some restitution. And then there's like maybe 2 weeks go by, and then probably 10 more checks go out. So they arrested me. First time in jail, maximum security county jail, and I'm going through crazy withdrawal. First thing I asked them, I'm like, can you guys give me some Suboxone?
They were like, this ain't a country club.
Right, they laughed at me. And so I went through it there. I was there for about a month, and they released me to like a probation thing. That's where the story gets good though.
Here we go.
So I'm on a probation thing. Like it was like not a drug court, but they made me do counseling and stuff. And I'm getting through that. About 10 months into it, I only had to do a year. I started using again because someone in my group was like, "Hey, I got this. You want to go do this?" And me being an idiot,
An
I was
addict.
like, "Yeah,
That's just, I mean,
yeah." And I was off to the races again. And then I start not showing up to group and not showing up to probation. And I left. I bounced. I went back to Buffalo. And probably about 4 or 5 months into that, I get pulled over there for something speeding or something stupid. And the cop's like, well, you have a nationwide fugitive warrant.
Oh my god.
They weren't playing, huh?
No, so they took me to jail. I had to wait like 30 days there until they extradited me. And from Buffalo to Ohio, where I was going, would have been like 5 hours. And I'm thinking like a sheriff or a trooper was just gonna take me, but no, it was like a prisoner like transport service, like private company. And I'm shackled up on this bus for like 6 days, picking people up and dropping them off at different counties and prisons.
Prisoner trans
6 days?
Yeah, 6 days. We did like a tour of the East Coast.
Yeah, I've heard of those before. I actually know what he's talking about.
Yeah, so that was like probably one of the worst experiences of my life. I would never wish that on anybody. By the time I got back to the county, I was actually happy to get into a jail because I was so beat from this trip, like shackled feet and hands the entire way.
They feed you though, right?
They do, yeah. You get fast food, a cigarette here and there, but it's terrible.
When they pull you over, you're outside in shackles, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I see those things. Not fun. I mean, not personally. But, yeah. So when is Lisa coming in? I want to hear
this story.
When Lisa comes in. So let's start with this. Where did you meet Lisa?
I met her at a rehab in Buffalo, actually.
Okay. And were you also in the rehab, Lisa? Or?
Lisa's giving the dirtiest look right now. It's hysterical.
Okay, we'll overlook that. So you meet Lisa.
Yeah.
And now you are how many years in of your journey?
Probably right around like 10 almost.
Okay, you have no kids at this point.
No.
Okay, so you meet Lisa and then
You have a kid.
Yeah, we left
Ding, ding, ding.
rehab. Yeah, we left rehab together. And we had really nowhere to go for a while. We were just kind of like staying in hotels and with my mom or whatever. And eventually, like that summer, I think.
Eventually, a month later,
Yeah.
I got pregnant after leaving rehab.
Yeah.
so you guys wasted no time.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Nice.
And we ended up getting an apartment in Buffalo, and John was gonna work, and I was gonna get used to throwing up all day every day. And the very first night he goes to work.
Yeah. The very first night, I was a pizza delivery guy, and had cash in my pocket. So I'm out delivering food. I figure I might as well stop and get some crack.
I mean, why not? That would be the normal thought.
Right. Yeah, it seems pretty normal, right? So I'm sizzling while I'm driving and whatever, and that just kept going like almost every day I was working. And that's where like the crack and cocaine kind of came in, and ever since then, like that's been not a bigger issue than the opiates, but it's been right there with it.
So okay, well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just turn into like a grimy dude when I'm on cocaine or crack. Like I hate how I am, and it's just, I don't know, it's terrible.
So when does the baby come?
Baby comes April.
So April of that same year?
Yeah, 2017.
Okay, so your baby's what, 2 now? 1?
Yeah, a little over 1.
Great math, Adrian.
Yeah, my math is bad. Don't mind me, folks.
But John went through so many attempts at trying to get clean, and then using on and off, and to this day I still don't know like all of the times that he was using and when he wasn't. And it was to the point where I was on Subutex when I was pregnant, because it's just, there's a backstory to that. But it got to the point where like and I know he doesn't care that I'm saying this right now, but he was stealing those from me. Like he was stealing those from his pregnant girl.
Correct. Well, when you're on drugs, you don't.
Right, you have to be so sick to do that.
Addiction it's a sickening thing. It's real, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, after all that, I mean, how do you feel about yourself as far as your guys' relationship goes?
I mean, this winter things got really bad. He ended up finally getting arrested after just being on the streets and made the decision to go to rehab. And I swore I was never going to speak to this kid again. Like, I was done. I hated him with every fiber of my being because of what he did. Like, I felt like he abandoned me and my child.
Right.
But I know that the reason I'm still here today is because I too am an addict, and I know what it's like to be on this side, and I know what it's like to have everyone walk away from you and turn their backs on you. And I know that his heart is good. He's really sick, and now he's getting better, and he's a different person.
And we're so proud of him. We've gone on this journey with you, and I mean both of you. And John, you look amazing.
My
You
life's
look
like
so
great.
healthy, and we're super excited to be a part of both of your lives.
I appreciate that more than you guys know.
John, you got yourself a good woman, and Lisa, you got yourself a good man. So let's, we wait for that, we went
We're gonna take a quick break with that so Lisa can come over here and beat up people in this room, not me. But we will be right back, guys. Keep listening to The Change Radio.
Here she comes.
What did you say? I see everything going on. Oh my gosh, you
Really coming.
Don't be mad at me, Lisa. That's what you gotta do. I mean, my girlfriend is the same way. And I mean, I can't do so. That's how I change the song. When I listen to you guys' story, that's the first thing I thought of.
Stop. Stop.
You're gonna suck my dick on the air. Bam! Oh shit, was that on the air? No! Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. That's great. I realize we're still coming.
Oh,
Yeah, we're always coming here.
yeah. Okay, so
I'm glad you guys were able to listen.
I got one.
Keep going.
We're doing that
Really
something.
helping.
yeah, he's such a different person now.
That's what everyone tells me, like, such a
really got to-
Lisa, you know I'm still video.
It wasn't because you planted to do a drink. I'm glad you're taking the step.
I need drink now. Thank you.
Jam! Just for the record, I stole Stephanie's spot that second. She ain't playing, she's a battle. She's bad down there. So I'm gonna sit back and enjoy myself here.
Yeah, man.
Free radio.
It's called
And Lisa was shocked at a few points.
not bad radio.
Just for everyone's information.
She's like,
No Wendy's. You know what I'm saying?
John,
No food.
I got McDonald's.
John.
I don't know what to tell you.
Lisa's like, huh? I seen her face just roll.
I ain't getting no Wendy's either.
I'm going in the waiting room. Sit down, my feet are.
Wow.
You're lucky I didn't turn the camera.
Wow, that brought back some memories. Right. Donnie's like, wait, is that stop? He's like, is it full? Is it full, Donnie? Oh, like, ah! We're back. We're back.
He has like 36 seconds.
I got this. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Brian, why did you message Steph when I have her phone?
What's that?
Why'd you message Steph when I have her phone?
I told her that I was here. I messaged Brandon. I'm like, what? I was like, what's going on right now?
I have her phone.
15 seconds.
She's your loud woman.
Oh.
Excuse me. And we are
Back. Back.
back, Rochester. We are back now.
We are. Okay, so John is here with us. He's in recovery, and he came out with us today for our first kickball game. Yeah, we're talking about it.
Come on, man. Well, we gotta talk about that kickball game.
Donnie, who do you think was the MVP for our team?
I think me and you.
Yeah, I would just say me.
Okay.
Just to be clear, Adrian was on the winning team, just to be clear.
Adrian just
knew who not to kick it to.
yeah.
It was super fun. But even though we had our kickball tournament, well, it wasn't really a tournament, but our kickball event, we still did a cleanup. And
Twice.
yeah, and actually 3 times.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So I literally stepped away for the beginning of the show to finish counting the needles. And our count for today was 1,630.
Is that a new record?
That is.
Wow. It's sad that it's a new record, but it is a new record.
And 1,000 of it was in one area.
Wow, that's probably like 500 over what our.
We're breaking a record every week.
And what people gotta realize is that.
1,000 of it was in one area.
Right.
It was so much higher though, because we had Rock Recovery with us to help out. We were able to split up and go in
Oh, because they're so great.
Well, they helped.
So
Yeah, they helped.
because they beat us in kickball.
I just want to
Brian's
say,
a little salty.
And they're getting shirts made up that says Hope Steelers.
Yeah. Yo, I told him we got him next time though. We're gonna get him next time.
They wrecked us in kickball.
I just want to
I'm
say,
not happy about it, but whatever.
I just want to say for the first time, being a part of the cleanup, it was absolutely devastating. I could not believe how many needles we actually picked up. I remember that first hour, we were at like 875. And that was
Insane.
just 1 hour.
Isn't it crazy, like being on the other side of it?
And the
too?
same spots from a week
Yeah.
ago, so these needles weren't, I mean, we picked them all up last week, and then boom,
This is weekly.
1,600 more in the same spot.
They're dropping 1,000 plus needles out there.
And when I'm picking up a needle and I could see a little kid 15 yards from me,
Yeah.
I mean, that was just, it was really, really sad to see. And I didn't even know that it was that bad. And you have to be there, like, to see it, to feel it, to smell it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's absolutely like blew my mind. It crushed my heart. I went home for a second and I was just like, wow.
Right, you're gonna have your problem.
I can think about that. Like, I cannot believe that. Like, yeah, that was huge.
That's why we put those pictures up like on Facebook after we're doing the cleanup, because like that's what we find when we go back behind these houses. We just find needles laying everywhere. And we put them in a pile to show people like what in one picture what's back there.
Steps, they're on it's insane.
Playgrounds.
Well, and what's cool is that we later in the day we went to that playground to clean it up, and there's a group of guys that hang out around there. They all have children, and they said, "Don't even worry about it. We clean it up," and they do. They kind of police that area. Yeah, they kind of police that area and clean it up every week. And they said, they're sick of it too. It's just, I mean, their kids got to play there. There's people who live in these areas who aren't, I mean, a lot of them who aren't drug addicts, who don't want this in their neighborhood, and they got to deal with it. They're raising their kids here. Maybe they grew up here. They're raising their kids there, and they can't even let their kids out the front door.
Yeah.
Right, and it's crazy too, because that's just what you were saying when you think of that guy that rode up on his bike and circled around Brandon, like staring him down.
And he looks this mighty of
Yeah,
walkie-talkies.
he looks at Brandon like he wanted to kill him, and then says, "Why are you guys have those walkie-talkies?" And the second I said, "We're just picking up needles,"
They put their guns away.
Oh,
No, I actually said at one point there's a 90% chance Brandon gets shot.
That's because I look kind of like a cop.
But
You
he
look like a
completely
drill
changed.
sergeant.
This dude completely changed his demeanor and
Yeah.
just went off the defensive right away and was like, "Oh, that's awesome. Like, that's cool." Because normally you see white people in the hood and they think
Brandon
that we're
Black.
down there to.
Yeah.
Right. Well, so clearly you thought he was our dealer and was confused.
No, we got a lot of recognition out there though. When we were out there cleaning up, a lot of people come up to us in the group and thank us for what we're doing. The fact that we're cleaning up the neighborhood. Because like Ryan was saying, like there's people out here that aren't involved in drugs that don't want the area to be, covered in needles and stuff like that. So a lot of times people talk to us and like, thank you so much for what you do.
But these drugs, the ones that are dealing, are so intimidating and so, pushy. They're basically pushing these people back into off their doorsteps, back into their houses, and saying, this is our neighborhood. Well, people are starting to take it back. We can see in some areas,
That's
but
the idea.
I mean, the idea is to take the neighborhood back because, I mean,
That was the idea of the kickball game.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like the open air drug market there is today. It's
Oh my
insane.
gosh, no.
It's insane.
No,
And
it was
we're letting
crazy.
the house drive by, and they don't even care.
We were sitting.
Dude, that was crazy.
We
Go ahead.
were sitting, we were getting ready to leave 8:21 and Karina, had just went inside and me and Rudy were talking and a mom pulled up. You could tell it was a mom. And her son got out and he walked to the corner and he hopped right there. And then the guy ran back with the money, like right in front of where we were. And I was like, did that really just happen like that? We see people shooting up in front of the buildings we go to every morning.
Yeah.
It's really sad. And I think it takes, coming out into the community with us and seeing what's really happening. A lot of people don't get it. And they have that not my kid syndrome. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where your kid is, if he plays sports, if she does cheerleading, like none of that matters. If you go to church, this affects everybody. Whether you're actively using or not, like us in recovery, we're affected by it still so much because we have friends out there on the streets right now using.
We see it every week, stuff, right? I mean, people that we either got into recovery or that was in recovery with us, and it's sad.
It is.
You see them come out from behind the house just copying, and you're like, man, I thought I just saw you in a meeting, or I thought I just thought you were in detox.
Right.
You see people doing really well going through the program, and then we go out on Sundays for cleanup, and I see them at the spot or behind the house shooting up.
Right.
And they'll come up. I mean, they'll come up and talk to us. And it's just it's like a different person almost.
Yeah, we
I
were
know
just
exactly what you
talking about this outside. We were in treatment with John. So.
Right. Yeah. I was in treatment with this guy. He completed the program successfully. He was there for like 3 or 4 months, and he ended up coming back here to Rochester. He was a veteran, and he stayed at the veterans like halfway house. I think it's Richard's house.
Okay.
Something like that.
That's the one on Ward Street?
South Ave.
Okay.
It's right over by where I live.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but he was out for a week and overdosed and died.
Oh
And
my
he
god.
said he had his head and blood out, right, or something.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Because they didn't find him in
Yes,
his
they didn't find
bathroom.
him, smacked his head and blood out. I mean, you go out so quick with this stuff. It's like, I mean, you don't feel it coming on. You
No.
don't feel this overdose coming on.
No.
It can happen, sure. You can overdose slowly, but with the stuff out there right now, I mean,
The
as soon as
majority,
you
right.
confront that thing, you're out.
See, the thing is,
I got that on your feet.
I didn't ever shot it. I just snorted.
and I went out like that. Like I woke up in ICU with tubes down my throat, thinking I got in a car accident when I didn't even get in a car accident. It was just from doing one bump off my hand.
And you're lucky someone found you, Donnie. It's like you were face down in a car, like overdose. There's no one around.
Nobody around. I don't even know how. Luckily, I must have that God. I have a huge guardian angel named Justin and Lindsay up there, and they sent somebody to me.
And like Donnie said, that was from doing a bump. This guy was smoking it. Like
Yeah.
he wasn't shooting it. Like it
It
doesn't matter how you're
It doesn't
doing
matter
it.
how you're doing that shit. It's tough.
You know, when we went down, me and Brandon went down the street.
Next to nothing, so any little thing is gonna.
Even with the stuff out there now, even when your tolerance is up there. I mean, if you look at the statistics behind overdoses, it shows that, most overdoses aren't new time first, like people using for their first time or even coming back from treatment. Most overdoses happen to people who have been using for a long time. And you think you got I got the same, I only use 2 bags, same as I did before. The slightest variation of fentanyl in those 2 bags.
Well,
It is enough to pay.
a lot are from people going back out there.
Oh, no, there is.
I
But
know
I'm
a lot
saying
of
the
people
Oh,
that
yeah.
one time.
the statistics show that most of, when I say most, I don't mean
Yeah.
99%. I'm saying, 50% of it's from long-time users, but a lot of times it happens when you come back out
Right.
after treatment.
Or getting out of prison or jail or,
This mic's messed up.
You sounded great right there.
Do I sound great
You
now?
sound great, buddy.
All right. I had a situation just like everybody's saying, the prison and just getting out. A buddy of mine that I was locked up with, and we were in the same unit. I went into a different unit, but he got released a week before me. and he was talking about doing the good thing, doing this, and then I find out after I get released, 2 weeks later, he OD'd and he's dead.
Yeah. I saw a show the other day. I don't know where the prison was. I don't know if it was New York or another state, but they were offering the guy Vivitrol when you leave. If you're an opiate addict and you go to this jail or prison, when you're released, they offer you the Vivitrol shot.
Really?
Which now that gives you 28 days, to.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, it was on a show we were watching. It was called Drug Something.
That's actually a good idea.
But this kid refused it. Now, if you refuse it, you're
I think
reservation.
I saw that.
Right.
And we ended up using go right back out immediately. His mom wanted him to go to treatment.
Yeah.
Monroe County is actually supposed to be starting that. I don't know if they already have, but definitely.
Niagara County does that.
Do they?
Niagara County, North.
That's amazing. I think that's great. Brian, you pulled up the statistics, correct, from the Heroin Task Force?
Yeah, for the number of deaths in 2017.
No, for last month.
Nah, didn't pull those up.
Well, what? You've only had 45 minutes.
I just looked at the one that was on the.
And why would you do 2017? We're in 2018.
Because it just came out.
Can we hear the 20?
2018.
Okay, yeah, let's hear it all.
No, this was from the crime alert page. It says Monroe County releases the fatal opioid overdose numbers for 2017. Monroe County medical examiner released annualized data on heroin and fentanyl overdose because it takes a long time for the coroner's office, medical examiner's office to actually decide if it's what it is. But the number of deaths in 2017 by county was Monroe was 220.
Wow.
And Genesee County was 19, Livingston 15, Wyoming 11, Steuben 10, Orleans 7, Wayne 3, Ontario 1, Allegheny 1, which leads me to believe there was a lot more than one of those counties, but a lot of them are reported as that type of death. But it's just crazy because we're on pace to shatter those numbers.
For last
Right.
month,
Lisa found it in like 5 seconds.
because I'm just. When you run.
I searched for 20 minutes.
It says 103 overdoses in Monroe County and 14.
So 2017 was
Wow.
220 and 2018 is 100 and what? Is that what you said?
Brian was reading the
For
For
2017.
the year.
for the year.
Yeah,
Right.
and then
this
she
is
just,
for last month.
oh, last month. Wow.
Yeah.
Never mind. Never
The
mind.
month of June?
Yeah, in just 1 month.
Say it again.
103 overdoses in just 1 month, last month, and 14 fatalities.
Wow.
Wait, what was it for the annually for last year?
220.
So we're already
We've
almost
already-
half that number.
Well, no,
1 month.
that was deaths. That she read. That's
Oh, okay.
14.
Sorry.
Well, hey, Craig Turner in Ontario County, he said they're starting that program too with the Vivitrol.
Oh, cool.
Amazing.
And those deaths it'll increase as the medical examiner releases more.
Right, and they should implement, that everywhere, but unfortunately, yes, there's gonna be those people who have reservations about it, and it's really hard not to sometimes. You have to make sure that you have the right support system. You have to, be able to pick up that phone and call if you're thinking about picking up a substance or, taking a bike ride down Clinton Avenue or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
You gotta be able to reach out and I think that is a huge part about what Hope Healers BTC is about, what Recovery Fitness is about. There's so many groups and there are so many people who are willing to help. But I know we found that when people do relapse, they don't want to ask for help, or it takes a lot to ask.
They feel embarrassed about what they've done.
Right, and that it shouldn't be like that, we're breaking the stigma. It doesn't matter about the time. If you don't lose all that knowledge you gain while in recovery, you still have that. And now you just have to pick yourself up and start fresh, but you still have that however long of knowledge and learning and all those tools under your belt.
And I don't think people understand, just how hard it can be for someone in recovery, especially in early recovery, to build a support network sometimes, because there's a lot of us that don't have a lot of family or don't have any family backing us up or many friends because we've been using for 10 years and we burn all those bridges. And I know I speak for myself and, a couple other people in the room. It's like, you have to start from scratch. And as an adult, you're not really, you're not in school, so you don't make those
Yeah, it's like,
natural.
how do you do it?
Right, it's like, what do you do? Just go up to people?
Where is
Hey,
now, like, this?
can you be my friend?
It's hard to put yourself out there when you first get in recovery, but
You go to the rooms and things like that, you can find people recovery.
yeah, you have to do it though. I mean, every friend I have in my life right now, I've made in the last 9 months.
Yeah.
I've gotten clean. All my old friends, I think that I've had out of my life that I really was serious about staying clean.
Everyone was at my house the other day, and that was like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's all good fun.
You have to work hard at it, I guess, and it doesn't necessarily come so easy.
And the other thing you touched on when people relapse and they're so embarrassed to come back in the room. That's the one thing I always try to help out with. I try to welcome people back with open arms, especially in the meetings and stuff like that. I'm like, we're addicts,
Yeah.
That kind of stuff happens, and people are embarrassed after they relapse. They don't want to come back in, and that's just gonna keep them sick. They're just gonna keep them out there. So I'm like, if we're addicts, it happens. I understand. I just come to this meeting. Stay with me, do what we're doing, and you know what you're doing already. You've been through it before. Just
Right.
get yourself back up, brush yourself off, do it again.
Right.
Do it again.
People get defeated going back to rehab too. It's like, why should I do this again? I feel like I already know everything. What else am I gonna learn? And I feel like a loser or less of a man, less of a person.
I mean, there's people in there that are like 50, 60, sometimes 70 years old, and they're just starting all over again. But at least they're starting over again. They're not sitting around.
Overdoses was 67-year-old man the other day on the
Yeah.
crime alert page, a 70-year-old female. Like,
You're never too old to get clean. I mean, it's like
never too old to die.
You see old people in
from
school.
overdose.
It's like when you go to college and you see a 70-year-old person in school. You're never too old to get an education. You're never too old to get clean. You're never too old to make something of yourself, no matter
I
how old
thought
you
you
are.
told me I was.
Well, you are. I mean,
We were just
Other
talking
people.
about you, Ryan.
You're just
You're the only
AF,
one.
bro. You're AF.
You are old AF.
No, we love so many people who come into our group. We become like a family, and it's not always good times. Sometimes we argue about stuff like a family does, but we love each other and we're there for each other. And that's the most important thing is support. And
Sometimes we're really big a-holes to each other, some of us more than others. I'm not looking at anyone specifically.
we're recovering drug addicts ourselves, and we don't have it all figured out, and we don't have all the answers. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, no, we get frustrated at times and seriously projects on it. It's like, oh, but I don't know, it's what it is. It all seems to work out in the end.
it does. It really does.
We all know we're kind of effed up.
We're all one big
A
family.
little bit.
Maybe I try to get along.
Never.
We're like the Partridge Family.
I don't know about all that.
Good night, Brian. Good night, Brandon. Good night.
It's a functional version of the Brady Bunch.
Lisa's Marsha. Marsha, Lisa.
Oh wait, no, it's the Waltons. My bad.
I don't even know
Is
what
it the
that means
Waltons?
either.
Now you're really showing your age.
Right.
Yes, I am. It's just kicking in now.
But Brian knew what he was talking about.
I don't, that's the thing.
You don't know the Waltons?
Yo, Brian, me and you are on the same level. You know what I mean? We're on the same level, so it's okay. Yeah.
Well, we are super thankful that Recovery Fitness came out with us today.
got
When
you.
are we doing
Yes,
this
thank you.
again, Steph?
We're gonna have to talk to Jimmy about it.
And we're gonna have to
Do it.
practice.
That was so much fun.
Be the
was
change has to
awesome.
practice.
Just laughing, and it was a good time, and it was cool because we had, we had a kid come in and join from the community.
Yeah, well,
Definitely.
He was a
And
star,
that
too.
was
Yeah, he
really
hit a triple, 2 triples in the
Oh my
game.
gosh, yeah.
And
Everyone lost a shoe during the one.
He came in with no shoes.
He came in with flip flops, and then he borrowed Vinny's shoe that was full of lead and
All-star shoes. with
Vinny's lead shoe.
lead shoe, and he kicked it, and it just went
Into the sky.
basically. Yes, it just never came down.
But did you guys notice during that kickball game, none of the addicts were in sight anywhere around
What
that
they
field?
were, they changed their mind. And at the last second,
Do something else.
yeah.
They were like, yeah, we'll be
Right back.
And then they forgot about it.
And that's like, we won't turn anybody
No.
away who wants to join us. Like, we know that a huge part of recovery is connection. The only way that we can keep it is to be connected to other fellow humans. And yeah, so that's what we're doing. That's what this is about, and we're going to continue to do it.
And it
only
didn't
people
feel
that
like
are
we
gonna
were
work.
in the hood either.
No,
Like,
not
we
at
were
all.
in that
Thought we were at a park.
Yes.
And
right?
that's the thing,
Well,
like,
Really, it was a field off of Sullivan Street.
we as addicts have that stigma attached to us, just like Clinton Avenue. And it doesn't have to stay that way.
I just want to say it was crazy that the lady next door that had the fence,
Right?
she was like yelling at us because we're playing.
Because the ball went in
The ball
the
went
yard.
over there.
Yeah, but it happened what, once? And
Yeah,
but
there's
any,
people shooting up on the
but
other
yeah,
side.
there's other people shooting up. There's people, you know, doing stuff right in front of her house.
Oh, wait.
She's like,
That,
No problem.
oh yeah, she
Yeah.
doesn't care about that.
yeah, she don't.
We've
That's
dealt
cool.
with her
Kickball, no.
before.
Yeah,
She called the cops on us once.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
What do the cops do?
We're trying to do something right for the
They
community.
joined in the kickball game.
Yeah.
No, she said the next ball that comes over, you don't get back.
And I said, okay, you're gonna threaten us with a rubber ball.
Donnie tased her.
I tased her.
He just offered her lunch and she ran away.
We're like, what about the people on the other side of the fence? Like, literally, she would go. And she was like, oh, they're fine.
They're fine.
No balls in my yard.
Right.
No kickballs.
You know they're cool.
She thinks kickballs from the devil.
Believe it is not.
Well, if we dedicate, well, next time we gotta get more people. We gotta get more people to play.
Yeah, we gotta definitely.
But anyway, let's redirect this breaking this
And-
before we got off topic.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what it's about. And we know we can change. We're living proof of that. So we can help change the community. We can help unite Rochester. And that's what we're gonna do. Yep. That's it.
The best part is everybody's staring at us, and you know we're having fun, and they're just watching. I'm hopefully next time we do it, they might join this time.
I hope so.
Yeah, it was pretty cool though. Like people were staring and staring, but they were staring for the right reasons. Like wow, they're actually doing something for our community and bringing some kind of sport, you know, in a high active area.
Right.
So
Yeah, there's actually a lot of people out there that are ashamed to call themselves addicts, and I consider myself like the complete opposite. I wear it like a badge of honor. I think I was talking to somebody about this the other day. Is I'm proud to call myself an addict because we're all survivors, and we're still here today to be able to share our stories.
we're gonna dedicate the song that's gonna be coming up, Five Finger Death Punch, Bad Company, to Keith Mercado years ago, but this was his favorite song.
And we're about to close out. John, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with us. We
I'm
look,
very proud of you.
Thank you guys.
yeah, we look forward to seeing you again and yeah, keep being safe out there.
See ya.
Good show, guys.
I swear.
Yeah.
Your phone was about to die.
Was it really? Oh, it's about to die.
Good job, Ross.